It's getting late. Okay, this is about function. How to make a function, what it does, the best I can explain it. I'm not a programmer by trade. By the way, this is laying on my desk. I'm going to go look at a Harley tomorrow. 2003 Road King, 16,000 miles. What I found out, don't buy anything new. Everything ends up in the junkyard. Get it used, get something clean, use it, resell it. You can get most of your money back, or if not all. So enough of that. I want to talk about this program a little bit to explain it. You notice how it says public class, and then I don't know, for some reason this is highlighted. Right here, let me unhighlight this. Sorry. Okay, we have I want you to think of this, it says public class, I want you to think of this as a school. We have a school, in this school we have a form, we have a button, we have a classroom, see it says class, and we got a student called show. This kid, all he does in this classroom is he shows message boxes, but right now he doesn't have anything to do. Let's see, why does this say this? Excuse me. So, even though we have a school with a classroom with a kid that likes to show message boxes, well, again, we're stopping right here. We're just looking at the school, the class, we're here. There's nothing to do yet. These kids are bored. He's got this message box, but he can't do anything with it. So they want to make something. So they're going to start building a program. And the way they're going to do it is the teacher says, make some containers and give them a name. So the kid, this is the only kid in class today, by the way. So he gets a container. Just think of Dimmons, remember, he gets a container. He writes on it, double area as double. And the teacher says, why did you write double? He goes, well, it represents a double precision floating point number. She goes, well, what the heck's that mean? He goes, I'll show you. So then teacher just sits back, and he takes this container and he writes on it a new name. He writes calculate area from radius, and the teacher goes, what the heck are you doing? He goes, hang on, I got to encapsulate this. So he encapsulates this number called 100. She's still lost. But then he goes, watch. That's his job. He did his job. But the teacher doesn't get it. So then the teacher says, what did you do? How did that work? He goes, I made a function earlier. She goes, really? Yep. She goes, before you ever got here, I made a function. I called it calculate area formula. And then she says, well, that's nice, but that doesn't explain anything to me. And he goes, well, notice I encapsulated something else over here. I encapsulated a value, and I called it radius, and I called it as double again, as double. In fact, teach, watch what happens. It says that radius, public function calculate area from radius is double. She goes, look, teach, these two are hooked up together. Still, it won't do anything. So he came in even earlier, and he named another container, and he named it as double. And he named another container double results. So really, he has 3 containers now. So he took this container, and he threw inside some math function called radius times radius. And then he took other container, and he put this container, this variable, inside of it. Or you could, yeah, he put it inside of it, and he added a little calculator, let's call it, which is another class. So this is a really small class. And he threw in a little pygmy called PI. This pygmy, all he does is he constructs PIs as doubles. He's a pi guy. Finally, he takes the box and he crosses out all the other names and he just writes double results on it. So in fact, in this box is holding all this. So now that he has built this container and this function inside this box, he can run this program by clicking a button, this button. Let's try it. It worked. So the way this worked is he built this function early. He put a value of 100 inside it, encapsulated in here. As soon as the program ran, that dropped. It went bump. It dropped right into here, into this function. And at the same time, this all went up into here. But in fact, we kind of created a new variable. And the variable has a value of this. So now that we know that's the variable, and we know the variables usually hold values, as we did up here, because we gave a value of double. And we also gave it this encapsulated number. And we named all that. Calculate area from radius. You can see it's somehow reading it. It's not reading it on its own. It's only reading it outside. So this kid seems to be pretty sharp. Somehow he made a function and somehow he just called it this and it works. So then teacher says, well, make another one. I want to see how you did that. She goes, it's easy. He goes, I'm just going to take this container that all this stuff that I wrote, calculate radius, and that's all I need because I'm Mr. Show. She goes, no way. He goes, yep, it works. So what is happening here? Sorry about this stupid narration. What is happening here? This whole function is right here encapsulated. It's actually a double encapsulation. If you look close, you see these parentheses? There's open and close, and open and close. But you also notice that you can add a few things. So that's the dot. That's where the other student comes in. This student is called toString. I know, it's kind of confusing, isn't it? So that must mean that this dot has a student too. That must mean that this is a type of classroom, even though it doesn't say that. But this classroom is called function. You won't probably hear this from anybody else. But that's how I read this in my small little mind, my devious little mind. Okay, we got 9:33, so we'll go over it one more time. But it's school. In the school, we have a form. In this class, in the school, we have a kid named Show. He's the only kid here so far. Actually, there's another kid. This kid down here is named Matt. They're not working together yet. This kid made a container. He wrote a name on it. He dropped a little encapsulated function inside. Just think of it as a littler box. And he showed it, but it didn't work because it didn't have the function yet. He hadn't wrote that yet. To make this work, he had to have a function. Well, he didn't have to have a function. Let me think about that. Did he have to have a function? Well, that's because, well, we know that you can run a message box without a function. A function is a way to reuse this. And in this case, we want to reuse a function that figures out the area of a circle. So the kid went, like I say, he came in early, he made another container, and he made another container. He took this container and the function, he put in this value of radius times radius, and it really means, what it really means is 100 times 100. It's very confusing, but that's what it means. But we haven't finished yet. So now he takes the second container inside of this function, and he puts the first container inside. The first container contains 100 times 100. And then he calls the other kid in. This kid is from another classroom, and he just does pi functions. That's all he does. So we got a kid that likes to show boxes. We get a kid that does pi functions. So, but this kid is, this kid came here. He's working with this guy. But anyway, they decided to name it double results. So they basically double results box is holding this function, and this function is called calculate area from radius with a value of this, if that makes sense. So double results holds all this, and all this is held inside here with this name. So just by using this name, you can make the function go. So we go down here, we get the show off guy that likes to show boxes off. He throws that container inside here. He also throws this container in, which is the encapsulated one up here. So again, let's talk about this. This name holds that value. So this name holds that value. This name also holds that value and this value. They're going to work together. Once you click a button, this is going to drop or go up, whatever you want to think it, call or send, however you want to look at it. So that's what's going on. This message box kid, and it's from Classroom Message Box. Mr. Kid Show, he knows what he's doing. The only weird thing is he, I don't know if I said this, he's kind of a class of his own, even though he doesn't say it. He's a function, but he's got a student called String, and he's got and then he adds this literal text. Let's run it again. We'll click the second button. It works. That's weird. So, what does that mean? Are these numbers locked in? No. Let's try it. So, the strange thing about this is, and I've got like 15 seconds left. That's the function of pi. The strange thing about this is, I'm done. Time's out.